what are current topics being looked at in academia in pharmaceutical science? We will find out today.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hello, everybody. I'm Michael Black, and this is Excipient Talk brought to you by galenIQ. And today I'm talking to Valentyn. Hello, Valentyn. How are you?
Hello, Michael. Thank you. I'm well.
Okay, great. So thank you for joining today. And please introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners.
Hello, everyone. My name is Valentyn Mohylyuk, and I'm a pharmaceutical scientist. Being Ukrainian, I got my pharmaceutical education in 2002 in Ukraine. Then I spent around 10 years in Ukrainian pharmaceutical industry in the big national companies, mostly in R&D, but also in manufacturing. Then I did my PhD in Freie Universität Berlin in Germany and defended in Ukraine and started a scientific chapter of my life. So I worked in University of Hertfordshire, Queen's University Belfast, and currently running a small scientific group in Riga, Stradins University in Riga, Latvia.
Okay, great. So now in your current position, which scientific topics is your group currently working on?
Thank you for that. So, in my group, we are working in the area of pharmaceutical technology, which is closely aligned with biopharmaceutical understanding and biopharmaceutical testing. Mostly we are working on solid dosage forms, mostly for oral drug delivery, but are not limited in single administration pathway. In terms of the specific scientific directions, we are working on the improving of the solubility and bioavailability of poorly soluble drugs, optimization of the pharmacokinetics, and custom properties such as sustained release and taste masking. Of course, we are paying attention on continuous manufacturing stages such as roll compaction and extrusion. We have some works in the fusion deposition modeling, 3D printing for personalization, and as well we are thinking about how traditional methods can be implemented for solving contemporary challenges.
Okay, wow, quite a lot of topics. So, as you mentioned already, you have worked across industry and academia. So, how does that actually shape the way you choose which research questions you want to look at?
It's a good one. Both in industry and academia, we have our own limitations. Such as people, resources, key process indicators, considering some similarity of activities, the emphasis is placed on different outcomes. Of course, the R&D models in generic and originator companies are different, but their main target is a product. Predetermined by the market needs. In academia, we have much more flexibility in scientific topics, scientific contacts or collaborations. And these contacts and collaborations are less structured. And the emphasis is placed on the clarifying of gray areas, of elucidation of the mechanisms. While product in the end is not always the aim. So to answer your question about the choice of research questions, it depends on the experience, background, and current understanding of the problem by the research group.
Right.
Thus, we spend sufficient time and attention to be updated with current trends and scientific news. That's why we are trying to visit the main scientific conferences, which is crucial for this purpose.
Right. Okay. So considering solid dosage forms and particularly tableting, if a formulation team wants a robust tableting tomorrow, what would be maybe the top 3 experiments you would look at first?
It's a tricky question. It's a tricky question because of even considering the tablet is one of the main dosage forms and relatively old dosage form and a lot of experience and knowledge already accumulated in this area. The ideal tablet is a kind of holy grail. A robust tablet is a result of interplay of a few groups of factors, such as formulation, including excipients used and their proportions, preparation of powder for tableting, including granulation types, calibration, lubrication, tableting equipment, which is very important as well, including the geometry of tablet press, feeding principle, punches and dies geometry, filling cams, and trajectory of punches, of course. And we need to remember about the process settings, including force displacement profile, as well as environment of tableting, including temperature of environment and moisture. So that's why it's hard to answer to your question directly. Let's say for generalization, before the scale up, I would test the effect of the most critical excipients, their concentrations and deviation inside of the specification, such as moisture content and lubricant concentration on the critical quality attributes of tablets. As well as effect of the tableting speed, so-called strain range sensitivity.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you for that information. So you said the tablet is, quite an old form, let's say, but these days now we have 3D printing. You've also investigated 3D printing. So what's the biggest misconception people have about 3D printing in pharma?
Yeah, it's a cool one. First of all, a lot of people still take it easy as a fun game, but I'm sure it should be taken seriously. It's already a game changer for extemporal drug preparation and personalization. 3D printing has already come to big European hospitals, and it's moving forward. Another misconception, in my opinion, lies in the focusing on the 3D printing only.
Right.
3D printing is only one of the preparation stages, and it's the tip of the iceberg. A much bigger work is hidden behind the deep water, specifically pre-formulation and characterization. And it requires some relatively new approaches, methods, equipment, skills for solving formulation challenges in the 3D printing related cases. It's a growing area with big features, in my opinion.
Right. Okay. And we've also spoken to people about 3D printing on this podcast series. So moving to another point that you've also touched on already, bioavailability. When formulators talk about bioavailability problems, what do you actually see as the real underlying limitation most of the time? Is it solubility, permeability, or maybe something else?
Poor solubility and permeability are well actualized challenges for contemporary formulation. It's clear. So, and in accordance to biopharmaceutical classification systems, such classes as 2 and 4 are very often candidates in the development pipelines. Nevertheless, class 3 drugs can also pose a challenge. And foods I want to underline very often skipped aspect, which is gastrointestinal tract. In my opinion, it's one of the biggest challenge because of and intrapersonal variability of gastrointestinal tract behavior. Content, environment, movements, presence of portion of the drug dosage form in different compartments. All these variables are increasing the complexity of oral drug delivery. So, and along with the classical perception of the formulation and considering that just the permeability and solubility, I'm sure we need to pay more and more attention to this aspect.
Yeah. So again, it seems like the more we know, the less we know. Yeah. But regarding formulation, from your experience, which formulation decisions made early on have the biggest downstream impact on the oral bioavailability?
My answer may sound boring, but in my opinion, they are the understanding of the drug, physicochemical, chemical properties of the drug, then the decisions related to the excipients chosen, including their proportions, and the preparation or manufacturing method. So in other words, everything could be decisive.
Right. Yeah. And nowadays we see that you mentioned already class 2 and 4, but we see there's a growing complexity of drug molecules themselves. And how is this actually changing the way formulation and process development is approached?
It's quite a wide question. Trying to answer it shortly, I would say we are trying to adapt. Because of we have some background, we have some well-established methods, approaches, and part of them are still useful. And we are looking for new formulation approaches and manufacturing methods, or trying to repurpose well-established methods for new challenges. In terms of observations which are obvious for poorly soluble drugs, we observe a big shift to methods based on the organic solvents and thermal treatment. And in terms of big molecules, more and more often formation enhancers are proposed for formulation compositions.
Right. Okay. Good. So moving now to let's say the future, what R&D trend do you believe is still underestimated today but will become more critical in the future?
In my opinion, I can highlight a few trends just which I believe are important and will be critical. And among them are downscaling, in silico pre-screening, and let's say in silico formulation, and let's say digital twins.
All right. Can you give us some maybe slight more insight into one or other of those points?
Yeah, so just classical behavior in the formulation lab is scaling up of process from the mortar and pestle, let's say, to technological equipment. And it's obvious that mortar and pestle they are not reflecting the complexity of the method which will be used later on.
Yeah.
So that's why it's would be quite pragmatic to downscale the existing processes and to take in account critical factors in early beginning.
Right.
In silico pre-screening and in silico formulation, it's already existing. So just it's not used extensively. At least it could be used more, in my opinion.
Right.
So just and even nowadays we are using specific tools and software. So just to narrow down the list of excipients, list of the formulations which would be tested in the lab. And in terms of the digital twins, this is the approach which is allowing us to mimic, to simulate the behavior of our material, part of the sample material, so just inside of the equipment during the processing.
Right. Right.
So I guess these three examples they definitely have an added value. So just that, and will definitely improve and move to the next stage, the formulation science and dosage form development.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, thank you very much for these insights. That's all very exciting and promising. And thank you for joining today. I know you're very, very busy, and
No problem.
and you're in demand. I know. So thank you for spending time today. And yeah, great that you joined. So thanks. And
Thank you, Michael. It was my pleasure.
thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you, you too. And thank you everyone for joining our podcast today, Excipient Talk, brought to you by galenIQ. And we will be back soon, and we'll see you then.